What if you handed over your entire personality to a machine? I did. And what it revealed about me changed everything. AI got weirdly accurate and, well, deeply wrong. This wasn't just some tech experiment, it was a full-on identity audit. And honestly, I wasn't ready. In this episode, I let AI define who I am, my values, my habits, my flaws, and my story. You'll learn what it got right, what it misunderstood, and what this experiment reveals about how we build identity in the digital age. We'll explore the psychology behind digital personas, how much we unconsciously perform online, and the danger of believing a reflection that does not fully belong to us. Welcome back to Mentor's Mindset. I started with a simple prompt. ChatGPT? Who am I? It replied with a question in return, a philosophical one, so I pushed it further. Based on what I post, what I say, and how I think, build a full identity for me. Then I fed it everything I could think of, my social media content, a journal entry, my favorite quotes, a voice memo where I ranted about life. Finally, I asked it to write my life story in the style of a Netflix docudrama. That's when things took a turn. I wanted to see if a machine could do what therapists, friends, and even I sometimes struggle to do. Could it see the full picture? Not just the curated version, not just the polished responses, but the contradictions, the flaws, and the hidden intentions. I included content from different moods and moments, not just highlights, but my lowest, most confused voice notes. I wanted AI to taste the full flavor of my internal world. Here's what it wrote.
You are a paradox, a people pleaser with a rebellious core. You crave peace, but often stir the pot. Not to start fights, but to awaken minds.
I paused. Was that accurate? Because yes, I do stir the pot. But I also long for quiet. Then it added,
You believe in justice, but sometimes struggle with self-righteousness. You mentor others, but secretly battle your own sense of direction.
Now I was sweating. AI wasn't just describing me, it was surfacing the parts I usually keep hidden. Comment below what you think AI would say about you. AI wasn't finished with me. It began throwing out curveballs.
Your favorite food is tofu.
Absolutely not.
You wake up at 5 a.m. to journal.
Please, no.
You listen to Taylor Swift before big meetings.
All right, maybe once. Let's move on. What struck me was how confidently it made these assumptions. It didn't hesitate. AI does not say, maybe. It says, this is who you are. That kind of certainty is powerful, and it can also be dangerous, because if you're in a vulnerable season, if you're lost or searching, it is easy to believe anything that sounds poetic or profound, even if it is off. And to be honest, part of me wanted it to be right. I was hoping this machine could hand me clarity, but instead it gave me a mix of emotional truths and bizarre guesses. It felt like being psychoanalyzed by a very confident stranger with a mild obsession with soy-based diets. This experiment made me question what identity truly is. Is identity based on what we say we are, or is it formed by what people observe about us? Or perhaps it's what we choose to perform online? Because when AI described me, it pulled from my digital self, the version I curate. So then I asked a deeper question. Can AI see the parts I hide? This is where it got uncomfortable. The AI began to guess. It said,
You struggle with needing to be needed. You fear success almost as much as you fear failure. You use humor to avoid being emotionally exposed.
I didn't know whether I should applaud it or shut it down. It felt like the AI had been reading my private thoughts, the ones I have only hinted at between jokes or late-night messages to trusted friends. This made me realize how much of ourselves leaks out even when we think we are being guarded. Our tone, our contradictions, the inconsistencies in what we share, they form data trails. AI simply follows the scent. It also made me wonder, if AI can pick up on my fears and emotional defenses through pattern recognition, what does that say about the people I interact with every day? Are they seeing through me too? Have I been hiding, or have I just been hoping no one would name what they already see? AI functions like a mirror, though not a flawless one. It reflects whatever we feed it. It also tends to amplify patterns we might not see all that clearly. Here's what I noticed. It exaggerated my ambition. It minimized my emotional fatigue. It assumed confidence where I actually felt confused. Why did that happen? Because online I rarely share the moments of doubt. And maybe you're the same. That got me thinking. What happens when everyone feeds these curated versions of themselves into AI and then believes the results? This leads to an identity shaped by algorithms, reflection generated by software, validation offered by a hallucinating machine. AI does not reflect your soul, it reflects your patterns. And if your patterns are shaped by trauma, people-pleasing, or constant performance, then that is what it will mirror. But it wraps it up in poetic language. It is like putting a mask on a mirror and being surprised that your reflection looks like a character instead of a person. And here is the bigger problem. If enough people start outsourcing their reflection to AI, we could end up with a generation that defines itself through feedback loops based on curated highlights and digital illusions. If this is hitting different, smash that like button. Here's the real concern. AI can tell you who you sound like, it can suggest who you act like or how you appear online. But it cannot tell you who you truly are because, the deepest parts of identity are not data points. They're emotions. When we hand over the task of self-understanding to machines, we risk forgetting how to listen to our own inner voice. That voice quietly says, "You're not a brand, you are a becoming." Your identity is not an output, it is a process, a living, breathing evolution shaped by pain, joy, failure, healing, and a million unseen moments that no AI will ever understand. We already live in a world where people ask, "What's my aesthetic?" more than they ask, "What's my purpose?" And I get it. We want clarity. Labels feel safe, algorithms feel authoritative, but your identity was never meant to be downloaded. It is something you grow into, not something you get from a prompt. Here's what I took away from this experience. AI is insightful, but not intimate. It gave me accurate labels, but it couldn't feel what those labels mean to me. My digital self is incomplete. What I post is part of who I am, but it isn't everything. My flaws aren't defects to be corrected. They are part of the code that makes me human. AI might help write a better biography, but only I can write my full story. This experience helped me see myself more clearly, not because the AI knew me better, but because it forced me to reflect more honestly. The process mattered more than the product. The AI's words were not profound because they were correct. They mattered because they made me ask, why do I present myself this way? Who am I when no one is watching? It was less about the machine knowing me and more about me asking better questions. So here's a challenge you can try. Screenshot your AI results and tag me. I'll react to the best ones. Open ChatGPT or maybe another AI tool if you like. Feed it your bio, a voice memo, or even, an emotional journal entry. Then ask, who am I to you? When it responds, pause and reflect. What feels true? What feels superficial? What feels like an identity you've outgrown? And then turn the question inward. Who am I to myself? Who am I becoming? Because real identity doesn't come from recognition. It grows from intention. Not what others reflect, but what you choose to build. Also ask yourself, what have I been pretending to be and why? Sometimes it is not about discovering who you are, it is about removing everything you are not. AI might help you start that journey, but it should never define the destination. Letting AI write my identity was never about seeking truth. It was about, exploring the gap between perception and reality. That contrast actually gave me clarity. It showed me where I've been performative, where I've been hiding, and where I've actually grown. If you've ever felt lost, if you've ever tried to reinvent yourself online, if you've ever started believing the version of yourself you curated, here's your reminder. You are not a prompt, you are a person. You are worthy of discovery. Take your time. You are allowed to evolve. You're allowed to shed the old versions of yourself. You are allowed to rewrite everything AI got wrong, and even some things you got wrong. If this video made you reflect on who you are, or how AI might be shaping your sense of self, hit subscribe because I'm not done experimenting, and next time you'll want to see how that goes. Join the Mentors Mindset community. We're not just building followers here, we are building self-aware humans. Drop a comment below. If AI wrote your identity, what would it get completely wrong and what might it get uncomfortably right? Let's talk about it.